Hello students, let us continue from the part from where we left during the last lecture, that is reproduction in plants. The topic which we'll take today is fertilization in a flowering plant. It's a very interesting topic which deals that how the fertilization takes place among plants and how the seed is formed and the seed gives rise to the complete new sapling. By definition, fertilization is nothing but a process of fusion of male and female gamete. If we see the process, it is different in different plants, but the basic phenomena is the fusion of male as well as female gametes. What happens that suppose this is the structure of the female reproductive part of the plant is here, that pollen grains are being put it, and this is the female reproductive part. Now the next step will be the transfer of the gamete from here to here. It's a process which involves formation of a pollen tube. It grows to the length of the style. This is a style, and ultimately reaches to the ovule where the female gamete is present. The pollen tube contains two male gametes. Suppose this is the tube which is formed in different plants. This formation is the process is different, but the contents are two male gametes from pollen grain, which are released into embryo sac. See, with the help of this beautiful diagram, we can understand the phenomena of formation of pollen tube. See, this is the pollen grain. This is pollen grain, and this is pollen tube. This is the germinative nucleus, and this is the tube nucleus. When this pollen is present at the top of this stigma, this is how it travels down along the entire length of the pistil and ultimately reaches to the ovule to transfer the two sperm cells which I just discussed. The pore from where the pollen tube enters into the female reproductive part is called micropyle, where the ovule is present, and this entire structure is called as ovary. When we see the detailed structure of ovary from inside, this is how it looks. You can see this is the pollen tube carrying two sperm nucleus or two sperm cells, and at the side where it enters, it is known as micropyle. This is micropyle. Now what will happen, that these two sperm cells will be transferred inside the ovule, and the next step will be followed. The internal structure is like this. This is a binucleate cell with two haploid nuclei. These are the two haploid nuclei, and these are the haploid egg nucleus present. Now the next diagram, which shows the further changes taking place during the process of fertilization, that is, this is the haploid nucleus, and this dark one is known as haploid sperm nucleus. This is from female and this is from male. What will happen, that this pollen tube, sometimes it degenerates, sometimes it remains in the degenerative form, but after releasing the male gamete, the haploid egg nucleus and haploid sperm nucleus, they comes together and fuses, forming diploid zygote. You can see this yellow colored part, it is a haploid egg nucleus, and this dark color part which is haploid sperm. When both of them fuses, they forms the diploid zygote. But this process is still not completed. What happens that the remaining one nucleus which is transported along this sperm cell, it fuses with the endosperm cell and forming triploid endosperm cell. So the process of fusion of gametes is known as double fertilization. When we will say uh, here one, as we have seen that one male gamete, when it fuses with egg to form diploid zygote, and another male gamete fuses with polar nuclei. These two structures, egg and polar nuclei, they are part of ovule. When it fuses, then it results in the formation of triploid nucleus, which will develop into endosperm in future. The process of fusion of one of the male gamete with egg and other male gamete with polar nuclei is called as double fertilization. Means the process, if called together, then it is known as double fertilization. Whereas the fusion of one male gamete with two polar nuclei to form the triploid endosperm is called as triple fusion. So we should be very clear about these two terms, that is double fertilization and triple fusion. I am repeating, one male gamete fuses with egg forming diploid zygote is known as fertilization, and the second male gamete when fuses with polar nuclei forming triploid nucleus. Both the processes are called as double fertilization, whereas formation of one male gamete with diploid polar nuclei, these are the diploid cells forming, this is again diploid, and forming of n plus 2n resulting in 3n is called as triple fusion. After fertilization, sepals and petals having no role, they are being shedded, and the next part of the development of seed starts. The function of endosperm here is very important. It provides nourishment to the developing embryo. Fertilization is a very important process in which many changes occurs. Ovule, which we have just seen in the flower, it changes into seed, and ovary changes into fruit wall. As far as the difference between pollination is concerned, let us end this topic at this level. Let us discuss the pollination. If we compare between self and cross pollination, then what are the differences? See, the ultimate result is the same. But in case of self-pollination, the pollen grains are transferred from flowers of the same plant or from same flower itself. But in case of cross-pollination, the process involves transfer of pollen grains from another plant or another tree. If it can occur even without flower, even when the flower is closed. It cannot eliminate useless or harmful characters, where by cross pollination, useless or harmful characters can be eliminated. Self pollination is a method which is highly useful to preserve the race. The difference between self pollination and cross pollination are many. Let us consider that the self pollinated flower will never help in production of new varieties or species, because here what will happen, the characters are conserved, they are not changed, whereas in cross pollination the chances are there that the characters may be transmitted from one plant to the another plant. So there are always chances of variation. So this is an important phenomenon associated with cross pollination, because the species has to change itself according to the changing environment, and cross pollination helps in changing or modifying, means it introduces variations in offsprings. So this is how self-pollination differs from cross-pollination.